bots video for Ergoversary, ErgoSummit, 4 years. Happy birthday, Ergo. We're going to try something, and I've never run off-chain bots, so this is going to be a fun little demo of how to run Spectrum off-chain bots. And for those of you that don't know, Spectrum is one of the main dexes on Ergo. Has liquidity pools for many different tokens within the Ergo ecosystem. Lots of liquidity for all of those: SIG-USD, SIG-RSV, things like Neta, ErgoPad, Padilla, all that kind of stuff. You can find it at Spectrum, connecting Nautilus wallet or Ergo Pay with Ergo Mobile. All that kind of stuff you can do right from your phone if you like. Really cool DEX. I suggest you check it out. So the unique thing about eUTXO is that there's no central kind of machine to execute things as part of the chain. So Ergo has things called off-chain bots, like a lot of different crypto blockchains do. And what those off-chain bots do is they will facilitate the transaction between whatever swap you're doing. And in order for there to be some incentive for people to run these off-chain bots, you get a little bit of reward when you do it in the form of cryptocurrency. So let's do this. I'm going to do it on Windows because I have it up, and I think it's probably easier than getting Docker running on a fresh install of Ubuntu, and most of you probably will use Windows anyway. So let's do this. So it requires Git and Docker. Let us install those right now. So here's Docker. We'll download for Windows, and let's install. I don't think I have Git on this machine. I do have Git already, but you can install Git for and you can install Git right there. Super easy to do. But we'll let this install. 6 minutes left, so let's read up on this while that downloads. And if we run out of time, then we'll come back. Or if we are still going, then I'll speed it up. So make sure Git's installed. Docker Compose should come with the Docker main installer, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. As you can see, there's Linux and Mac OS commands, and there are separate window commands. I also have a administrator command prompt up in the background right here. Let me show that to you. Right there, perfect. And I am actually going to cd to what's my user? Oops, I'm not in Linux. Let's cd to my user, and we're just gonna okay, perfect. So we are on our desktop. Doesn't Windows have a clear command? I'm gonna barf. Ah, there we go, CLS. That took some digging out of my memory. All right, we are 4 minutes left. Let's speed up the video. Okay, further down the instructions while I was reading and you were waiting for me to speed up the video and download. Still 3 minutes left on that download. You can't see it down here. It says that we need a seed phrase, a mnemonic seed phrase for the wallet for receiving and paying miner fees. So we are going to go ahead. I don't think you can see my Nautilus pop up here, but I'm popping up Nautilus. You can get Nautilus from right there. You can get it from the Chrome store. Right here to install it, and there are plenty of videos on how to make a new wallet. So I am going to make a new wallet here while we wait. So it's 3 minutes left. Let's speed up again. Okay, the download is done, but we are going to actually go into a new directory that we made on the desktop just for Spectrum off-chain bots. So let's do that. Okay. I'm going to run the Docker installer in Windows, and I will let you know if I choose anything other than default settings. Let me speed through that. There it is up on the screen. I'll add a shortcut to desktop. I guess it's a very easy install. I've never done Docker on Windows before, actually. Certainly easier than Linux so far. Let's speed this up. Oh boy. Close and restart. Let's see if we can do it without it. My Docker's installed. Let's see what happens. Let's just keep going until we can't anymore. And then we will restart. Okay, so first step is to, after Docker's installed, we download the repository from GitHub. So let me switch to the command right there. Okay, so that's going to be that command right there that you just saw me copy. Okay, and let's see if it did anything. It sure did. It brought everything down. So we need to go back to the instructions. Next step is for Windows, we cd into the ErgoDex backend. So let's copy that, go back to the command line, cd in there. Now we can see we have a lot of files. So I think the next step is we configure our seed phrase into this. Yes, we do. We copy the example to, okay, all this command does is essentially is it copies the default file and names it into a working file. So that's what we're going to do here next. Oh, I need to use copy instead of cp. Okay, so I think yep, there we go. So just remove the spectrum instructions are wrong for Windows. That's for Linux, essentially. Remove the // and just do exactly, oh, let me show you that. So remove the // is there. And if we go back to the command, you'll see the command that I ran. I'll push the F button so you can see it again. Right like that. Just copy config example, right like that. So now we have a config.env file that was a copy of the default config example file. Okay, golden. Let's go back to the instructions here. Okay, there are two values that require modification of the config file. The first is a mnemonic, which will be used by the bot to create a wallet, and the second is the second value needs to be updated to the URI of your node, and it warns you about the local host. Might not be accessible from within Docker if you're running that kind of thing. Okay. So if you look up at the top here, there is a warning here about using a public node. And the reason for that is that it is not quite as fast as running your own local node. So if you want to run an off-chain bot for Spectrum and you don't want to follow the Ubuntu instructions or run a VM for a node or that kind of thing, or even run a node on Windows that from manual scratch, then I suggest running the Ergo node, which is a Ergo wallet with a built-in full node. It's a one-click install essentially with a GUI, graphical user interface. It makes it super easy. And then the bot that you're running on the same computer as a node, you should be able to access the node because it is it's on the machine. So heed this warning too. What this means essentially is that since the off-chain bot is running inside a Docker container, it's its own virtualized environment. If you try to do the loopback address of 127.0.0.1, that's where your node is, because it's on your local computer, you think, it's not going to work because it's actually looking at the local net stack of that actual VM. So it can't even get outside of that to see inside your local computer. So what you need to do is you need to find the actual IP address of your local computer. It's probably something like 192.168.1. Whatever. If you're on like Google, it's probably like 192.168 like what is it, 186, something like that. They have some weird base address. So you got to look for that. Not your external address either, unless you're using your own node that's semi-private somewhere else. So remember, the reason they don't want you to use somebody else's public node is because it could be bogged down and it might have you lose transactions simply because whoever gets there fast to churn out that transaction is going to be the winner of that. So use your own node, use a local node. It's going to be faster if this is what you're interested in. Okay, so first step, I am going to edit this file. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to open Notepad and let me show you guys Notepad. There we go. And I'm going to go to, you can't see it right now, but I'm just making my way into my desktop, my Spectrum folder, my Ergo Dex backend folder, and my, where was it? It's in the it's called config.env. And on TextEdit in Windows, I have to pull the thing down to say all files so that I can see that config.env file. Otherwise, it's looking for TXT files. Okay, so that is what my config file looks like. All right. So the two options that it wants me to set are the node URI, which is right here. And we do remove the carets here. So this is my personal node. If you use it, I mean, that's fine, but you're going to lose transactions even though it's pretty fast. And I need to block off the screen right now. So I'm going to paste in my mnemonic phrase here, and I am going to save the file. So you are not going to see me do that because I do not want to show you this wallet that I'm using. And then simply save and close it. Okay, so steps again. We copied the base config file, we open that new config file, we pasted in the node URI, the address, we pasted in our mnemonic phrase, a 15-word seed phrase, essentially. And now we are hopefully ready to compose this. Compose is essentially how it works to start the bot. Okay, cross your fingers. And we did not restart Windows here, even though it asked us to. So we are playing with fire a little bit, but it's worth it to show you guys. Let's see something not work. Okay, I'm going to clear the screen. CLS, sorry. Here we go. Let's see. Let's make sure that the command we're going to run is there. So Docker compose up. Is there a Docker file? Yep, there's a Docker compose YML file right there. So this command right here is going to take that. It's going to fire it up with Docker, and it's going to use the config environment file for everything that we need. Here we go. Cross your fingers. Yep. Okay. Let's restart the command line. Let me restart this command line to see if this works. Sometimes Windows just needs the command line restarted instead of the whole darn computer. And we'll make this big again. I am not cutting any of this because I want you to see that we're doing this in one shot. Okay, so let's go back there. Users, right? cd users, cd my name. CD Spectrum maybe, yeah. You can hit tab there and it auto-completes FY. So we want like Ergo Dex backend, yeah. cd Ergo Dex backend. Okay, and now we run the Docker compose up again. And hopefully the system environment was updated and it can actually see that. All right. Connect in the default daemon configuration window. The Docker client must be run with elevated privilege. It is. It's being run as administrator. To connect, git. Yep. All right. Let's reboot. Be right back. Okay, we're back, and there was a pop-up about accepting a TOS for Docker, which we did, but for some reason Docker hung on startup no matter what. So we're going to try this right here. Let me hide this. Wrong window, so give me 1 second. Okay, so we're going to uninstall Docker, which I did. Reboot your machine. We're going to install a Linux WLS distro, which is essentially a backend. So we go into the terminal, same one that we were just in, and we type this. It lists which ones are available. And this is telling us to install, it's suggesting to install Ubuntu. So the command looks something like this, right like that. And it's going to install Windows subsystem for Linux. And let's see what happens. It's not too big, and I thought I had this installed, but I'm glad it's doing this so we can all see. Essentially, years ago, Windows came out with a subsystem so that you could run literally a kernel, Linux kernel, and Linux commands in Windows. So I'm not sure if Docker is depending on this or anything like that, but it certainly looks like it solved it for some people on the forum. And we're going to give it a go. So I'm going to come back when this is fully installed because it looks like it's going to take a while. So I'm just going to hide my video while this happens. Okay, that was faster than I thought. Here we go. Let's get that same Docker compose up. Essentially, from reading the backend, it eventually meant that I was on an older version of the Linux subsystem, and that may have been the reason. So here we go. Well, let's see if Docker's running in the first place. Docker is not running. Let's start it. See if it starts. And since it's on your desktop, just double click that, and Docker should pop up. We're accepting the terms, and I'll show you that window in 1 second as soon as it comes to something I can show you. Yes, let me show you that window. Okay, so it looks like that. And I'm going to skip this. I'm already logged in, and cross your fingers that this puppy starts. And we're back to Windows container, Linux containers. And since this doesn't work, there's one more thing we can try, which is making sure this runs as administrator when you start it. We'll give it about 10 more seconds. All right, I'm looking at my task manager. It's using the WML sublayer, WSL, I mean, sublayer and Docker desktop. So it's doing something. And it worked. So that just took a minute. Okay, so it's up, it's running. You can see in the taskbar that it says Docker is running. Okay, I'm going to minimize this and hide it so you don't have to see it. That's great. We're up. All right, ready? Okay, that's really good. They're all created, they're all checked, or they're all created. That's the sign you're looking for and started. Redis is started. That looks good. Let's see what the web page says now. Okay, so you can examine their logs to confirm that the bots are running correctly. To view a consolidated log for all bots, use the following command: cd ergo backend docker compose logs f. Okay, so we're going to copy that. We're going to go to command, and let's see if anything's happening. Yeah, I'm going to say that's working. Yep. Cool. So that is, you can see it's scanning outputs. Awesome. Great. That's it. So, pretty cool. Great. It's working. So, I'm going to leave this running, and we'll see how much erg we collect, and see what happens. My node's pretty busy, so it's probably not going to be beating many people to the mempool, but we'll see. If you have any questions, hop in the Spectrum chat, hop in the Ergo main chat, or even the dev chat, and ask away, and people will help you. Thanks, everybody. Ciao.